So ever since I started getting more into YouTube and was looking up info on lesser known PlayStation 2 games, almost always I would see Shadow Hearts pop up. For years, this game has been on my mind as some beloved cult classic RPG for the system, and after finally playing it a few years ago, I have to say, I can see why. Some quick little background here though. From what I understand, this game is the beginning of a trilogy, while also being somewhat of a continuation and spin-off from the developer's first game, Kudeleka. It also seems that the development team behind this game was made up of ex-Square employees. To begin with, the story of this game takes place in an alternate reality in 1913, where things like magic and demons are real. It all starts on a train where a young woman who has powerful magic for exorcising demons is going to another country after the death of her father. However, a suited man possessing his own dark magic is on the train as well, and starts slaughtering soldiers on board to get to her. This is where our lead jumps in, Yuri, a brash young man who can take on the forms of demons, who is compelled to save Alice, which he does. From there, the two journey together, making allies with a skilled magician, a spy, and even a vampire, all in an effort to learn more about the man who tried to kidnap Alice and the dark secrets that surround him. At the same time, we learn about Yuri's own conflicting past and see a relationship bloom between Alice and himself. Personally, I enjoyed this story, as I found both the characters and setting interesting. While Yuri can be rude, I never hated him, as he really gives his all to help people. On top of that, the story has moments that can get fairly dark. It really embraces that slightly horror setting, which I found to be really refreshing for an RPG. So yeah, good characters, an interesting setting and darker tone, and genuinely engaging story leaves me pretty positive with my experience after playing this game. Like I had mentioned before, Shadow Hearts is an RPG, a turn-based RPG to be exact. You have your typical RPG elements such as shops to buy items, weapons, and armor. You can use tents at save points. There are some dungeons you have to navigate, and towns to visit. Progression is fairly simple as you make your way to the next new location, which isn't hard since the map is super easy to navigate, and talk to certain characters or complete a dungeon and beat a boss. This really isn't too difficult, since every dungeon there is a shop somewhere who will sell you an accessory that makes your party immune to whatever status infliction the boss will most often use. Basically, the game isn't all that difficult for the most part. Thankfully, the combat is entertaining. You have a variety of characters to use who each have distinct skills, like Alice having good support spells, Margaret having spy tools that can do some massive damage, Yuyen, I'm not quite sure how you pronounce his name, has useful offensive spells, and most importantly, Yuri's fusion. This skill allows Yuri to transform into demons of different elements. These elements, by the way, can be useful to know of against enemies, as each element is weak to another. Each demon has its own stats and different skills to use, which is neat and helps make them feel more distinct, aside from their designs. You can earn these new fusions by taking Yuri to this dream graveyard by visiting the save points and talk to these gravestones. The opportunity to fight the demon before earning them is granted once you've leveled up that element by first killing enough enemies of the same element, except for level 3 fusions, as you first need a hidden key before you can unlock them. The hidden keys are, I guess you could say, a side quest of the game. As cool as the concept for the fusion is, I didn't learn about these keys till the final dungeon, and by that point in the game, you have very, very limited locations to visit, so I didn't feel very compelled to look for them, since I figured I'd miss some in inaccessible areas. The only other side quest I can think of would possibly be these lottery games scattered in multiple locations, but I really didn't care for these either. What Shadow Hearts seems to be most well known for is its Judgment Ring system, and this is one I quite enjoyed. When in battle, every action your character does, from attacking, casting spells, and even using items, a ring will appear, and you'll have to press the X button when the line is in a colored section to pull off the action. This means everything can fail if you aren't paying attention, and while that can be annoying at times with some more obnoxious rings, I still enjoy this as it does a good job at keeping you more engaged in battles. These rings can also show up in other sections of the game, like in the lottery, or when trying to go for a discount at the shops, which is neat. Another interesting element of battles is sanity points. That's right, not only do you need to keep an eye on your character's health and magic, but also their sanity. Each character has a different amount of sanity, which goes down each time it's their turn. You can recover sanity points by using items, so it's important to stock up on these, as if your character loses too much sanity and it reaches 0, they will go berserk, and you have no control of the character, and this can often lead to a game over. Once again, another system I like. Not only does this offer a new element to the game that you only often see in other horror or Lovecraft-based tabletop RPGs, but it also helps make you more tactical in battles, judging whether or not now is a good time to use a recovery item for your sanity, or if it's better to attack or heal. For this is mostly a decent RPG, but the Judgment Ring and Sanity system made things more interesting, and are what helped keep me going in the end when it came to gameplay. Okay, first off, I quite like the pre-rendered backgrounds. Not only do they have nice detail to them, I also really love the art direction. The game is very heavy with dark, more gothic-like locations, mostly, and I was looking forward to seeing each new place. With that being said though, the character models don't look so great. Faces can look off from time to time, and worst of all, the animations are noticeably stiff and awkward. It's not very good for characters like Yuri, who definitely move a lot with martial arts. However, the janky animations work really well for some of the more disturbing demons, who come off more unnerving because of the animation being so stiff and unusual. At the same time though, can't really hate this too much, as it made me think back to the PlayStation 1 with some pretty nostalgic RPGs for me, so despite some bad graphics, I found the visual presentation to be so charming. Music is amazing in this game. Seriously, this is an impressive soundtrack that has a mixture of Asian and European influences. We have some great town themes that create a relaxing environment, pumped up battle themes with a side of dark intentions to them, and some fantastic haunting themes as well. A few tracks I would recommend giving a listen to would be Brainhopper, Angel Heart, Bloody Kitchens, and of course, Shadow Hearts. Seriously, I recommend giving the whole soundtrack a listen sometime, as it is easily one of my favorite OSTs for the PlayStation 2. Like I said not too long ago, playing this game reminded me of some PS1 RPGs that I had also grown up with, along with the few PlayStation 2 ones. And for me, that makes this one of the coziest games I've ever played. Sure, the character models aren't so good, as well as some cutscenes. The game is more on the easy side, but I really do like this game. It has an engaging story, a fun battle system, and amazing music. I would absolutely recommend this game to people who enjoy RPGs, and definitely if you want to play one that has more of a horror aspect to it. I truly do wish there were more horror-like RPGs, as I'm finding I like the horror atmosphere quite a bit. Don't get me wrong, this game isn't what I would call amazing, but I still had an enjoyable time. I will confess, a bit of my love for this game is kinda retroactive after having played the sequel, but to better understand why, you'll have to join me next time. See you all then.